Welcome to the Lighting Director portion of your training. In this video, we're going to cover the basics of lighting for television. We're going to look at different types of lighting instruments, shadows, white balance, and color temperature. You'll learn the finer points in your textbook and in your class training.
Lighting Director. The lighting director illuminates the sea to make it visible, to clarify certain aspects of it, and to make us feel a certain way about it. The lighting must also satisfy the camera, so it can produce optimal pictures. Just changing the lights for a scene can have a dramatic impact about the way we feel about the scene or character. For instance, lighting can make someone look mysterious. It can turn your subject into a villain or pensive thinker. Following some simple guidelines will give you a foundation for how to light. You can practice lighting by becoming a critical viewer. Learn to observe the lights around you. Watch TV and movies for their lighting, and look at how lighting is used in paintings and photography. Sometimes, lighting can make all the difference between an ordinary production and a work of art. Shadows help us see the three-dimensional world on a two-dimensional screen. Control of light and shadow requires that you understand the qualities of light and the functions of shadows. Light can be described as being directional or diffused. Directional light, like the sun or a spotlight, have a defined beam that causes dense shadows. Diffused light creates transparent shadows. More than anything, good lighting involves control of two types of shadows: attached shadows and cast shadows. The form and texture of an object is revealed by its attached shadows, which appear to be attached to the object. You can control the amount of attached shadows by controlling the focus of the light source. Directional lights create attached shadows, and fill lights reduce them. Here, a diffused light illuminates the object. There are no shadows, and the object looks like a triangle. By making the light source directional, we create attached shadows that show you that the triangle is actually a cone. Cast shadows define the spatial relationship between objects. Cast shadows can be seen independently from the object that caused them. Cast shadows can also show an approximate shape of an object. Falloff refers to the contrast of light and dark areas and how fast light turns into shadow. Controlling falloff is an important element for the overall lighting design of a scene. When a director calls for fast falloff, he or she wants a high contrast between the light and dark areas of an object. Directional light, such as the sun or a spotlight, creates fast falloff. This is a dramatic look of fast falloff. It is effective for conveying a dark mood or expression, but be careful not to overdo it. Fast falloff creates very high contrast, which makes it very hard to see detail in the dense shadows or overexposed areas. Slow falloff has a very gradual change between light and dark areas of an object. You control falloff by changing the intensity of the light on the shadow side. Watch how the falloff slows by increasing the intensity of this fill light. The higher the intensity of the light, the slower the falloff. Flat lighting has no falloff. When the lights have equal intensity, all the attached shadows are eliminated. Flat lighting can be useful when you want to make skin look smooth, but it makes objects look flat. Lighting designers must answer to the director. The director uses lighting to help tell the story and to produce optimal video images. The video operator demands two things: enough light on the set for the camera to see well, and the contrast of the lightest and darkest areas of the picture must be limited for optimal video quality. Although a good video camera can record images with very little light, you must provide the camera with enough overall illumination to achieve optimal picture quality. The difference between the light and the dark areas of an image is called contrast. If there is too much contrast between the light and the dark areas, you will see overexposure with light obliterating some details, or underexposure with dark areas becoming too dense to reveal any detail. Have you ever noticed how the sun has a bluish tint at high noon, but a more orange tint at sunset? The relative bluishness or reddishness of white light is described in terms of color temperature. Light that is bluish has a higher color temperature, like the lights in an office, while reddish light has a lower color temperature, like the light from candlelight, which adds to the atmosphere of the room. We measure color temperature in degrees Kelvin. Light with a reddish tint has a low color temperature, with a measurement ranging between 1000 degrees and 4000 degrees Kelvin, whereas light with a bluish tint has a high color temperature, with a measurement ranging from 4000 degrees to over 7000 degrees Kelvin. And remember, always use proper protection for your hands and eyes. Most studio lights and indoor portable lights have a color temperature of 3200 degrees Kelvin, and lights that are used for shooting outside have a color temperature of 5600 degrees Kelvin. White balancing refers to adjusting the camera so that a white object is reproduced as white, regardless if it's illuminated by a bluish or reddish light source. If someone is wearing a white shirt, the shirt should look the same whether you are shooting outdoors or indoors. When white balancing where the light source has a bluish color temperature, the camera reduces the bluish tint. And when white balancing where the light source has a reddish color temperature, the camera will reduce the reddish tint. You should always white balance every time you shoot in a different lighting environment. White balancing becomes difficult when light sources with different color temperatures mix, because you must match the color temperature before white balancing. A simple way to do this is by covering the lights using gels, which are colored pieces of a transparent material, such as plastic, that change the color temperature of that light. If the main light source has a bluish color temperature, then put a blue gel over the other lights. And if the main light source has a reddish color temperature, put an amber color gel over the other lights. To properly light something, we control the amount of light using the light board and the position of where we hang the lights from the light grid. Two types of lights that we use at WDSC-TV Channel 15 are spotlights and floodlights, and we position the lights in what is called three-point lighting. Three-point lighting is a lighting setup that uses three lights: a key light, a backlight, and a fill light. Spotlights are used for the key light and backlight, while a floodlight is used for the fill light. The key light is the main source of light in an object and is placed above and to the right or left of the camera. A backlight is used to separate the object and the background and gives the object a glamorous glow. A floodlight is used as a fill light to eliminate the harsh shadows from the key light. The fill light should be placed at the same height as the key light, but on the opposite side of the camera. If you wanted to add to the look of the scene, you could add a background light to make a cool look for your background. If you wanted to keep the identity of the person on your screen a secret, you can use what is called silhouette lighting. The setup is quite simple. All you need is a background light, and you're good to go.
If you have any questions about lighting, you can refer to your textbook or you can ask your instructor, and that would be me.